This story begins in New York in 1987 and introduces us to a wealthy banker named Patrick Bateman. At the beginning of the story, Patrick is with some of his rich colleagues who are having expensive and meaningless conversations. After that, they go to a nightclub where the bartender tells Patrick to pay in cash instead of using a credit card. Over such a small issue, Patrick threatens to kill her. Perhaps he only says this in his mind because the bartender ignores him. The next morning, we see that Patrick lives in a luxurious apartment and is a very disciplined man. He wakes up early every day, exercises, follows a strict diet, and maintains a detailed skincare routine. He prefers wearing designer suits. Patrick is a show-off because he lacks any real human qualities. He's also very fond of music. He goes to his office where his secretary Jean has feelings for him. However, Patrick pays no attention to her and even tells her to dress better. In the evening, Patrick goes to dinner with his fiancée, Evelyn, where some of their friends are also present. Patrick has no real attachment to Evelyn. Instead, he is having an affair with her best friend, Courtney. On his way home, Patrick notices a beautiful woman and goes up to say hello to her. The next morning, we see Patrick at a laundromat, trying to wash red stains, possibly blood, from his bedsheets. This suggests that he may have killed that woman. Later that day, Patrick calls Courtney and asks her to have dinner with him. She initially refuses, but when Patrick mentions Dorsia, the most luxurious restaurant in the city, she agrees. When Patrick calls Dorsia to book a table, the person on the phone laughs at him because getting a reservation there is nearly impossible. That evening, Patrick takes Courtney to a different restaurant after getting her heavily intoxicated, so she won't realize it's not Dorsia. The next day, Patrick boasts to his friends that he had dinner at Dorsia. At that moment, a man named Paul Allen, played by Jared Leto, arrives. Paul mistakenly calls Patrick Marcus, as they all work at the same company and look almost identical in their suits and clean-shaven appearances. Patrick grows jealous of Paul, especially when Paul shows off his new business card, which appears more elegant and refined than Patrick's. Something as trivial as the shade of white and the thickness of the card deeply disturbs Patrick. That night, Patrick takes out his frustration on a homeless man in an alley. He humiliates him and then kills him with a knife, also killing the man's dog. Patrick is not a Sigma male, but a disturbed individual with a craving for murder. A few days later, Patrick goes to dinner with Paul. He gets Paul extremely drunk. Paul still believes Patrick is Marcus and even insults Patrick in front of him. Patrick takes Paul to his apartment, lays newspapers on the floor, and plays a song while giving a detailed commentary about the artist. Then, wearing a raincoat, he comes out and strikes Paul in the face with an axe, one of the most iconic scenes in the movie. Paul dies and Patrick disposes of the body. He then leaves a voice message in Paul's voice, making it seem as though Paul has gone to London for a few weeks. The next day, Detective Kimball, played by Willem Dafoe, visits Patrick to investigate Paul's disappearance. Patrick becomes visibly nervous. That night, he brings two prostitutes, Christy and Sabrina, to his apartment. He bores them with talk about a music album and then has sex with them, all while admiring himself in the mirror. Afterward, he brutally tortures them and pays them to leave. A few days later, Patrick's colleague, Luis, shows him his business card. In a fit of rage, Patrick attempts to strangle him in the bathroom. However, Luis misinterprets the situation and tries to kiss Patrick. Disgusted, Patrick backs off and leaves. Detective Kimball questions Patrick again, but does not suspect him, believing Patrick was at Marcus's party that night. This confusion over identities helps Patrick escape suspicion. Later, Patrick returns to a nightclub with his friends. He flirts with a model and takes her home. In the next scene, we see Patrick holding the model's hair, implying he has killed her as well. Jean then arrives to inform Patrick about his meetings. Looking for his next victim, Patrick invites Jean to dinner. She suggests Dorsia. Patrick calls again, but is mocked and denied a reservation. Still, he pretends they have secured a 9 p.m. table. That evening, Jean comes to Patrick's apartment. They talk for a long time. Jean is the first person who genuinely listens to him. At one point, Patrick is about to shoot a nail gun into her head, but he hears a voicemail from Evelyn, which makes him stop. For the first time, Patrick shows mercy and tells Jean she should leave before he does something terrible to her. Jean leaves. Still craving violence, Patrick returns to Christy, lures her with money, and takes her to Paul's apartment, where another woman is already present. Afterward, Christy tries to escape, but accidentally opens a closet filled with the hanging bodies of two women. Terrified, she runs into the bathroom and finds another corpse. Screaming, she runs downstairs. Patrick chases her with a chainsaw and drops it from above, killing her. The next day, Patrick breaks up with Evelyn. That evening, he approaches an ATM that displays a bizarre message telling him defeated a stray cat. As he's about to shoot the cat, an elderly woman sees him, so he shoots her instead. The police notice him and chase him. Patrick opens fire, causing a police car to explode and killing the officers. He shoots anyone he encounters, leaving no witnesses. Eventually, he hides in his office while helicopters search for him. Realizing his game is over, Patrick calls his lawyer and confesses everything, claiming he is a serial killer who has murdered 20 or maybe 40 people, including Paul Allen. However, the next morning, Patrick is at home as if nothing has happened. He goes to Paul's apartment where he had hidden the bodies, but the place has been completely cleaned and freshly painted. The real estate agent tells him no one named Paul lives there and asks him to leave. Meanwhile, Jean finds Patrick's diary at the office, filled with disturbing drawings. Later, Patrick meets his friends and runs into his lawyer, who initially mistakes him for someone else. The lawyer believes Patrick's confession was a joke and insists that he met Paul Allen in London 10 days ago. Hearing this, Patrick's mind seems to break. He returns to his friends, thinking to himself that he is just an ordinary person like everyone else, and that everything he did meant nothing. It may all have been the result of his unstable mind, a fantasy world in which he imagined himself to be a killer.